I think the best word to describe motherhood, or a series of words, is full on. The idea of having to do my job at the same time as looking after a newborn baby kind of bursts every kind of brain cell I've got. Right. Hi, my name's Claire Newell, and I'm the investigations editor at the Telegraph. This is my first ever podcast. Welcome to the Juggling Act. Today I'm interviewing Nadine Coyle, pop singer and Girls Aloud superstar. She's travelled the world with her job and had so many hit singles. She had her baby in her late 20s, and I guess what I really want to find out is whether there have been special issues she's had to deal with being a singer, or whether the kind of problems she's faced are just the same as any other working mum. I read that I think in a couple of interviews you've given before, you've said that you're someone who's always suffered a little bit from anxiety. Did you feel that having your daughter made you more anxious, or did it lessen your anxiety?
My mother told me years ago, she said, you should wait. My mother had said that I should wait as long as possible because I'm a worrier. I'm a natural worrier. And that I should wait for as long as possible to have kids because I think I know what worry is without having a child. Wait until I have a child, then I'll really know what worrying's all about. And she was right. I mean, and I was maybe a week old, and my older sister, she came over to LA as well. And I had felt just crippled one night. I felt like I couldn't even stand up straight just with the pressure of having to look after a new life, just 24/7 all the time. It was like a weekend date, and I had to Charmaine, my older sister. I was like, how do you do this? How you've had four? How can you do this? And she's like, it's easier. She was like, it'll get easier. 6 weeks, it'll get a little bit easier. Then 3 months, and then 6 months, and then it'll get a little bit easier as time goes on. And I really held on to that. I was like, oh, please let that be the truth, please. And she was absolutely right. It was just holding on every day, just like, get through today, just like hold on, it's gonna get easier, it's gonna get easier. So I definitely held that close, and it did. Thank goodness.
Yes, I think that is very good advice, because especially at the beginning, you haven't had any sleep. You've got no idea how to feed a baby, burp a baby, nothing. You actually know nothing. And it's a real struggle when you're also exhausted because you've just given birth.
Yeah, you've just given birth, and it seems so unsafe. I couldn't believe it. I had been in labour for a few days, and then by the time Ayah was born, she was handed to me, and I was like, this isn't safe. I am in no capable mind to actually look after a baby.
So exhausted.
I'm too exhausted. I've been up for days. I hadn't slept for maybe 2 weeks before that because, you're uncomfortable and there's just no room left.
Well, you don't for the last couple of weeks. Yeah,
there was just no room. So it was like, and now, at the end of all, you've got your baby, your healthy baby, and this is great, like so precious. You're thinking, I am not fit. I'm tired, I'm shaky, I haven't eaten right in a long time, I definitely haven't slept, your head's all over the place, and you're supposed to take care of just the most precious little thing.
Yeah, it's terrifying actually.
It's so terrifying. And then I was a week into that, of kind of that like constant panic mode. And then, my sister said that, and I was like, okay, I have to relax. I was like, I'm going to give myself a heart attack and then be no use to anybody because I've got chest pains. I'm like, oh my God. So I can't do that. That's completely counterproductive of trying to do so. I was like, I need to find a way to calm down.
And were you anxious just because you were so busy, or was it that you didn't feel ready to have a baby at that stage?
I think I was 27 when I was pregnant with Ayah. And that's around the age that I wanted to have children at. And then suddenly you're that age and you think, oh, this is really serious. I have to really kind of buck up my ideas. And, you know, you think a few months before that I was on tour with a band, and regularly, you know, we would be up partying all night, and that was kind of just, you know, what you do. And suddenly I really did think I really have to be very, very sensible and kind of get my act together as soon as possible. But I didn't really worry about work. I didn't think at this point, it didn't cross my mind, and I never ever thought that having a baby would hinder any type of work. But definitely I knew, okay, this is going to be a different experience.
Yes. And do you think it's something that you could have done when you were still in Girls Aloud, have a baby?
Definitely the whole pregnancy thing, there's no way I could have been pregnant and been in Girls Aloud at the same time. Much too physical being in a band. There's a lot of dancing and high heels, and I know a lot of people do it. I know friends of mine have been in bands and been pregnant, and I just don't know how they do it.
Nor do I. I don't know how they could do it.
I don't know. I mean, I could barely walk from living room to kitchen. Never mind get dressed and do a routine. I was regularly in pyjamas and had morning sickness until it would start at 7 a.m. and stop at 7 p.m.
Oh, how awful.
Oh my goodness. And then I couldn't eat anything all day. So I would start at 7 p.m. and I would start with breakfast, and then a few hours later I would have lunch, and then a few hours later dinner. So I wasn't getting to bed until late. So yeah, there was no way I could have performed or, you know, done a promo or a tour being pregnant. I think it's so amazing people can do it, but I know physically I wasn't well enough. It took over so much that I wasn't physically capable of being able to do that.
And then I think you had your baby in America, but then shortly afterwards had agreed to do a tour with Michael Flatley at the Palladium. Is that right?
Yes.
How did that happen?
So that happened. Michael and I share accountants. So, you know, there's these strange connections that work in, you know, in these ways. And I got contacted by my accountant saying, you know, do I want to take a meeting with Michael Flatley? And at this point, I didn't know that I was pregnant yet. And we had a great meeting. And it was decided that Michael was doing a residency to begin his kind of final tour, was beginning with 9 weeks at the Palladium. And he had asked if I would start and do the Palladium, and then right after the Palladium, then they were going to tour the world, which he often does, and that I want to be part of that. And then the plan was to then go to Broadway and come back to London, to the West End again. So it was this huge, you know, 5-year plan, or at least a 3-year plan kind of laid out. And I thought, yeah, this sounds really exciting. This is something new. And I had an Ayah. And so I had agreed to it before I knew I was pregnant. And then when I did have an Ayah, it turned out that it was 3 months later was when the promotion for the residency at the Palladium.
3 months after the birth?
Yeah, 3 months after the birth.
Oh no. So when you realised that your baby was only a couple of months old, but you'd have to come back to London to start it, did you think, I might need to cancel?
I thought what was happening was I didn't sing at all when I was pregnant with an Ayah, because I thought, you know, often even the way that I sing, there's like loads of emotion in it, and you're like really having to dig deep to sing, and I thought this is too upsetting for a little baby. He doesn't want to hear me like wow, like screaming. It should be nice and peaceful and relaxing. So I didn't even sing. So straight away after she was born, I had to get the songs that were supposed to be done in the tour, and they were doing an ITV special, like a primetime ITV show where Michael was going to be there sitting talking and, you know, have different performances on, and they wanted me to be one of the performers on there. So I thought, how is this going to work? What are we going to do? So I managed to do it. And our first trip, her first time going anywhere, was flying to London, bless her. At 3 months old.
How did you cope with the jet lag? But also, how did she cope with the jet lag?
I mean, not surprisingly, not very good. You know, it was not good. It was not easy. She was, you know, very, very easy baby when she was born, and was in a really good routine very early on. So that was fine. You know, we were in a 3-month routine, and then suddenly because I thought, I can't leave her here, you know, she has to come with me.
Yeah, of course.
I brought her, flew her the whole way to London, where it was, 7-hour time difference. And that's a big, big, big difference for anybody.
Very big.
And especially, a baby that's kind of feeding at different times and hours. And yeah. So it was definitely the baptism of fire bringing her over.
And when you realised this show was coming up, was there any part of you that thought, I can't do this? Or were you always convinced it would be okay?
I kind of tried to put it to the back of my mind. And I thought, it'll be fine, or... maybe the show won't go ahead, or, maybe they'll find somebody else, or I just didn't want to stress myself out about it. But as soon as, and I'll tell you, it was incredibly close. It was the dress rehearsal of the show, and I had realised that I didn't really know the lyrics. I hadn't really done any rehearsing because it's a dance show predominantly, and there's a ton of dancers, and that's the main focus, and all I have to do is walk on and sing a song, and Michael doesn't need to be looking over me doing that. I didn't need a coach to do that. You're assumed that you can handle that responsibility yourself. But because I was so focused on what Ayah was doing, and how much had she eaten, or how she's sleeping, or I was so focused on that lyrics to a song it just didn't make any sense to me. I just couldn't find a way to keep the lyrics to stay in my mind. Before the first show, I didn't know the words. And they had like a trick where I had to come up, they put you in like a man trap, and you have to bend down, and then you're pushed up, and then you arrive on the stage.
Yes. So
I'd done all of this, and the stairs were quite steep, and I was holding the lyrics to the wrong song, so the tune was playing, and I was like, ooh! And Michael was like, what is going on? What's wrong with Nadine? What's wrong? And I was like, okay, yeah, so blah, 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 yeah, got it. I was trying to take it more as like a technical run, to do the traps and do the stuff. And then I realised, it was like, the show's opening tomorrow night, and I do not know these words. What am I going to do?
Oh, how awful.
Yeah, it was stressful.
And then did you just work all night so that you were able to do it?
I definitely worked hard on trying to retain the songs, but retain the lyrics. But it was definitely it was a major challenge. I had to do some tricks.
Do you think it was hard because of the sleep deprivation, because you were so tired, or because you were so preoccupied with your newborn baby?
Yeah, I think it was both. I think it was everything all rolled up into one. Time is moving so quickly because every hour is kind of allocated to what the baby's doing, or this or that, or and then getting her settled into London as best as we could. And
yes, because I guess life is just different, isn't it? As you say, your focus is your baby. Are they okay? Are they eating? Are they sleeping okay? And then, especially at 3 months, that is very early. You're still a newborn baby.
Mm-hmm. She's still a newborn baby. So she came back to London, but by the time the actual show started, it was in September. So she was maybe 6 or 7 months. Still a very, very young baby.
Okay, so yeah, a bit easier.
Yes, a little bit easier, but still very much the main priority and focus of everything.
And when you were doing the rehearsals for the show, were you breastfeeding or formula at that stage? Because the kind of practicalities of trying to work when your baby is so young can be quite difficult. Yeah,
it was definitely very difficult. It took a lot of organisation. And what was great about it was when the show actually started, I only had to be there the length of time that the show was on.
Yes. So only 2 or 3 hours in the evening.
Yes, so that was that. So I could be there all day, everything all ready, everything all prepared, and then do the show. My mum is, amazing with kids, and that's my mum's 5th grandchild. And so she was, I knew that Ayah was in the best possible hands. So I could go do the show, be there a few hours, and then come back and kind of be mommy again. And I remember Ayah seeing me a few times with like hair and makeup on, and you would go to the cot and she'd be like, who are you? What is this What is on your face?
Because I guess you look so different with, well, you know, anybody does with lots of hair and makeup. You could look like a different person.
Totally, a person that she just wasn't used to. You know, like lashes on and stage makeup, which is even different from even regular makeup.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did. You could see it in her eyes that she was like, she knew it was me, but it was definitely a different look.
Yeah, that you look a bit kind of odd almost.
Yeah, odd. She used to say then as she got older, she was like, you look scary with makeup on. You look really scary.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I prefer not to wear makeup too.
And so what happened then? You were at the Palladium and you did the show, and then I think there was the opportunity to tour around the world, but you decided not to. Is that right?
Yes, that is right. It just, you know, and it was the crew, you know, are all so brilliant, and the cast and crew, but the cast are, you know, they're like 16, 17, 18, you know, like really, really young. You know, I think I was 27, maybe 28, so still really, really young, but with a baby. You think I'm not going to drag an eye. We're not going to go to Taiwan to, you know, curl over China and to go to, you know, all of these different places with a really young baby. Yeah. As great as an experience as that would be, it's definitely not. I'm not that kind of parent, you know, and I know people like that, and they're like, oh, just throw your baby in, you know, one of those carry things. And we went traveling for 2 years, and, you know, we lived here, and I love that. But I didn't have the nerve to do that. I was like, no, I'm too scared.
Yeah, I think it sounds like it would be quite stressful.
But if it's just a travelling thing, you know, and I think it seems like a lot of fun. But then to add on to having to do a show then every night or in these different places.
Yeah, you can't relax. You've got to work when you get there.
You have to work, and then I would have to bring somebody with me. So I was, you know, having to bring someone else again out of their lives, or, you know, my mom would have been, you know, the one that would have came, and she doesn't really want to go being, you know, travelling all around the world doing all of these things. So suddenly it was weighed out that that I wasn't going to do it.
Yes, and did you feel like it was a shame because you were kind of missing out on your career, but it was the right thing to do, or did you not worry about that?
I feel like it was the right thing to do, on balance in terms of what was right for Ayah and what was right for me. I feel like it was the right thing to do.
So do you think you've become pickier since your daughter was born with your career, or do you think you've just managed it differently since Ayah was born?
I feel like I've worked really consistently since Ayah was born. I really do. It feels like there's been a lot of different things that I've done, starting with the Palladium. And then I signed a new record label, with a new record label, and I had done that. And then I turned into doing a lot of live stuff, which I hadn't done for a long time. So it's been, you know, it's been really busy, it feels like.
Yes.
And I feel like it's been manageable. It's been a manageable situation. And Ayah gets if I have to go to work. And if I go to work, it's going to be something that all of the hours are going to be occupied. Where it's, you know, you do as many things in the one day or the 2 days or the 3 days as you can, so as then I can get back home again. And especially if I need to be away from home or away from wherever Ayah is, it's definitely, it's all crammed in, back to back to back to back to back for however long, and then I can get back and then don't do any work then for a while. Just leave it that I'm worrying about Ayah's school or what she wants to do or what we're doing together. So she understands when I go to work that she's like, oh, we're at work. That's fine because she's got me for the rest of the time. Silly.
Yeah. So it's kind of swings and roundabouts, I guess.
Yes, exactly that.
And when you did I'm a Celebrity, was that difficult being away from her for that period of time?
It was. I'd been away from Ayah before. The furthest we had been was we were in New York for the summer, and I had to come back to do some work in London. There was like maybe 10, 11 days of work, and that had been the longest time and the furthest away that we had been. And I was like, okay, so I can do this. So I kind of thought going under the jungle, there's 10 days that, you know, that you have to be in there. And then I definitely thought that I would have been, you know, I would have been off the jungle really, really soon. I didn't think I would last very long. So we had, you know, everyone flew out. My whole family came out. I was there. Yeah, so I think it was the 10 days. So it was, you know, you're in there for minimum 10 days. That's when, you know, people then start leaving. So by the time the 10 days had come, my mom and dad and sister's husband and Ayah and I have friends that live in exactly that region. I have a really good friend that has a ranch like half an hour away from the actual camp.
How nice.
How nice, I know. So it was like, oh my goodness, you know, we'll go to Brett's ranch and we'll have a great holiday and, you know, but a winter sun and, you know, everyone's all out there. But it turned out I was on the jungle for much longer than I had anticipated. So we never got to the ranch. And I only got to see them in the hotel for 2 days, and then we left the next day.
And how old was Ayah when you did that?
She was 6.
Oh, and did you find the separation from her difficult?
I did. I did. I had a survival technique was I kept thinking about having Ayah there. If she was there, and we had decided to do this crazy jungle experience, and you've got this, you know, terrifying bathroom type situation and, you know, this walkway and you're just outside. And I was like, okay, if me and Ayah were there, what would I say to Ayah for her to feel like it was okay? So, and I constantly pictured her just walking around the camp and sitting down and what she would be saying and what she'd be thinking. So yeah, she was very much, I felt like that she was there with me a lot throughout the days, that most things I kind of related back to or could envision her being there.
Yeah. And how long were you in there for then? How many days did you survive?
I think it was 21 days.
Oh yeah, so quite a long time.
Yeah, it was quite a long time. And you're, you know, you've got no contact. It's not as if you can, you know, FaceTime anybody or...
Yeah, you can't pick up the phone. Yeah.
I mean, like, what's going on or what's happening or... And that's really difficult to get used to because the very first day I had to jump out of a helicopter.
That is extraordinary.
Which was extraordinary. So by the time I got to the camp, you know, and you kind of feel like, oh, you know, your day's done now. You've done, you know,
yeah, I've done quite a lot.
You've done a lot for today. I now need to pick up the phone and, you know, talk to everyone at home and find out what's going on and tell them I jumped out of a plane. And you can't do that.
Yeah, that must be so weird.
So weird. So odd.
Do you feel like with doing your job, like being a working mum, you're setting an example to your daughter about working hard, for example?
It's I was, you know, raised with my mum didn't work. She looked after us at home. I'm one of 3 girls and my mum was always there, always, you know, up in the morning making breakfast and dinner and, you know, putting us to bed. So I know what it's like, you know, the benefits of having a mum there all the time. And I really, really enjoyed that. And my dad worked a lot. Me, myself, I feel like we're in a different, you know, we're definitely in a different world. We're on a different, you know, and I've had a different adult life than what my mum has had. I started working at 17. So I have known from being in school and being the local babysitter of all the kids in Derry to now going straight into work and kind of working so consistently that I don't know anything different other than to work and to, you know, to kind of have been able to do things that have been out of the ordinary or things that I've really wanted to do or have great experiences. So that is something that I feel is really important for me personally. So I hope that, you know, by me being able to be a working mother and showing her that sometimes you can be able to do a lot of things, a lot more than what people would tell you that you can do or we're led to believe we can do. Actually, you can find a sweet spot in life where you can do it all.
And what do you think about being a working mum? What's the most difficult part of the juggle been for you, do you think?
The most difficult part is finding the time. You know, I don't want to have anything that's so permanent that I can't be around be around for a lot of things that Ayah does. So essentially, you're almost like a freelancer, and you'll take this job here. So it's very much like any freelancing job. It's finding the right thing that works, that makes sense, that isn't going to take me away or mean that I can't be around a lot of the time for Ayah growing up, but also is kind of helping me to achieve the things that I want to achieve, or pick something that I want to enjoy, or it's going to stimulate, or whatever I'm into at that time. It's finding the right jobs that fit with that big picture.
So I guess it sounds like the balance of those two worlds. So you want to be able to have nice, fun, interesting jobs that you like, but you wouldn't say want to have to go away for 6 months to do that.
No. I just couldn't do that. I wouldn't, and I was in a great school, and those are the things where being an adult really comes into it. And you have to think, there's just no way I could go for 6 months somewhere or a month somewhere. I couldn't take her. And it's always that balance of I don't want to just start disrupting her life, so it's just because it's something I want to do, you know, and then grow up and think, well, I did have lots of good friends, but then you moved me back to America, or then we moved to here, and her not be able to find a connection and roots somewhere that she can grow up and feel attached to it.
And how did you find doing Bake Off? Were you able to be at home when you were doing that, or did you have to go and stay there?
I had to go and stay there. I had to stay away for a few days. That was lovely, actually. That was really nice. They had this beautiful hotel.
Nice hotel.
Yeah, it was this gorgeous hotel. They had all these like snacks and stuff laid out from when I came in. It wasn't too far away from my house in London, so it wasn't even that long. I thought the place we were going to, and I won't say where it is, but it's got the same name as a town up north somewhere.
Oh, right. Yes, you didn't know which one you were going to.
I thought we were travelling to up north. I was like, the Bake Off tent must be, up north somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, it might be cold.
I was all ready. It was roasting hot in London. I had put on, like travelling clothes, like these, clothes, thinking, I've got like a 4-hour journey ahead. And we pulled up to this beautiful place, like 30 minutes away from my house. I was like, we're here? What is going on? So it was beautiful. Yeah, beautiful hotel. But who knew that baking was going to be that stressful? And I love to cook. I really, really love to cook. Not bake, but love to cook. Yeah. And it just was like, the wheels just completely fell off the cart that day. It was just a runaway horse, and it's just it was.
Oh, I'm looking forward to watching it.
Cause.
Great cause. Exactly. It's great.
Such a great
and
cause.
So was it actually quite nice for you to be away, to have a little bit of kind of you time, being in a nice hotel and peace and quiet?
It was, because we had came out. That was the first job, the first thing that I had done, the first day at work since the lockdown in March. Yeah. So it was the first time I was out to do anything.
How exciting.
And it really was quite exciting. And suddenly you think, you forget that there's a world outside. And, we had to get a paramedic came and, gave everyone COVID tests. So,
really?
The actual cast, we had all been tested multiple times.
Yeah.
So we were allowed to stand close to each other. And
yes, you were allowed to have contact.
So it was very much like just, first day at school, being allowed out to do something. You're like, wow, this is amazing. That was a very great cause, very stressful to bake, which you wouldn't think. I always thought that was supposed to be enjoyable. And, great to kind of to be around people. So it was...
Yeah, really good fun, I suspect. I can't wait to watch it. I love Bake Off.
Me too. I love watching it.
And just thinking about more the kind of juggle of kind of kids and work. So you're separated from your daughter's father, I think. How do you feel about being a single mother? Does that make it harder for you, or?
I mean, I definitely have friends and know people that are actual single mothers that have to do everything themselves. So everything falls on them. And that is not the situation that I'm in. You know, I've been so lucky that, you know, since Ayah was really young, my mum's just amazing with kids. And also, I have a great relationship with Jason. Like, he's here now. He has Ayah on the trampoline, you know.
Oh, lovely.
As we speak, yeah. So it's very nice, very... It works very well. And so I feel like I can't wear that crown of the single mother that's doing everything and manage to pull off school and work and homework and baths and dinner and washing and keeping a household. Like, I'm not having to do all of that, whereas there are people I know that are doing that, and they really deserve that crown of I'm doing an amazing job. I would be a fake if I was to be like, I do everything myself, everything. That's not the truth.
So even though your career has changed quite a lot, it sounds like you're actually really quite content with how things are now.
I think that's right. And I think, you know, I spent a lot of times feeling guilty for not doing stuff. People like, you know,
before you had your daughter.
Before I had Ayah, feeling guilty because I didn't want to go do all of those things. I liked spending time with my family. So any downtime I would be with my family or, you know, big friends in Ireland. And you're missing out and going to, you know, this party here, or this place here, this place there. And I was like, one party's the same as the next. You know, there's a bunch of people like getting drunk, you know, wearing clothes that are too tight and heels that are too high. You know, it doesn't matter the scenery. It's all relatively the same, no matter where you are. And it didn't appeal to me, you know, anymore. I was like, I'm kind of over it. So you spend again a lot of time saying, no, I don't want to do that. No, I don't want to go there. No, I'm staying here. And then you feel guilty and think, you know, am I missing out? Maybe I should be out doing these things. Whereas, you know, when you're a mother, as you know, you're like, I can't be out gallivanting. I can't be at Art Basel in Miami when my child is sitting here doing this, or I can't be this fashion week doing this when, you know, I have a child that needs breakfast, lunch and dinner and you need to be entertained all day. So it removes that option for me of thinking, should I be there? Should I not be there? It's like, no, you can't be there. Just, you know, just sit down, relax.
Yes. Yeah, so then you didn't have the choice.
Yeah.
And what do you think your top tip would be for kind of juggling a busy career with having a child? What's the secret for you?
Just try to remain calm. Just try to remain calm, which was something that I wasn't always able to do. You know, I definitely at times like, what am I doing? You know, and you'd have that kind of realization when you're in the middle of doing it, like, how did I get here? I was just with the baby an hour ago, and now there's all of these people, and what am I doing? So yes, definitely try to stay present in the moment, concentrate. Because when you're with the baby, spend all your time, you know, in the moment there. And when you're at work, spend your time in the moment doing that. And don't waste time with either, you know, really
worrying about the other
one. Fully apply yourself, and then you'll not feel like you're missing out with the baby, or that you're not doing as good of a job as work as you could. Because you can kind of split your mind, and us women are very good at multitasking.
Yes.
And I think this is why we often have to use those skills.
I like talking to Nadine. It's very interesting to meet a pop star and hear about their issues and their life experiences. But what it taught me is that many of the problems that she's faced are the same as me and other women I've talked to. For example, trying to find a job that won't take you away from home too much, or where the working hours would just be too difficult and mean that you don't see your daughter. She also spoke about the crippling anxiety she felt when her baby was born, the pressure of looking after a child, the responsibility. I think it's really understandable and a very common thing. But interesting to hear that someone with such a glamorous, high-profile job, someone who's travelled the world and has best-selling singles, has just struggled with the same issues as the rest of us. This is the last episode of the Juggling Act. I started making this podcast when my son was about 7 months old, and I was starting to think about the future. Going back to work after having my baby was really anxious making for me. I was worried about whether I'd be any good at my job anymore and whether I really could juggle the demands of looking after a small boy and doing a full-on job that means I've got to work long hours sometimes. Speaking to these brilliant women offered me so much reassurance that actually it's pretty normal to have these fears. And hearing their experiences did give me reassurance that it would be okay. And so far, it has been pretty good, touch wood. For me, highlights have included the brilliant Stella Creasy telling me what it was like to go back into Parliament after having her baby, and how some people seem to think she wasn't quite up to the job anymore, as well as the brilliant Jack Monroe describing what it was like to have no money and a young baby. Do go back and listen to the other episodes if you haven't already. If you've enjoyed the show, it would be really great if you could rate us on Apple Podcasts and maybe give us 5 stars. It would really help us make more podcasts in the future. And if you know any other parents who you think might be interested in the Juggling Act, please share it with them. The Telegraph has loads of other great podcasts you might enjoy. One of the people I interviewed, Bryony Gordon, has a really fantastic one called Bryony Gordon's Mad World, where she talks about her experience of juggling mental illness and being a mum. If you want to find out more, subscribe to The Telegraph for lots of brilliant parenting advice and get 30 days free at telegraph.co.uk/audio.